Om Shanti students. Now I am going to discuss the second chapter, structure of atom, and first of all try to understand the discovery of electron, proton, neutrons. All of you know in lower classes you have already studied Dalton's atomic theory. Dalton was the first person who gave the term atom. Atom, A means not and atom means broken, not broken means that particle further not broken. That's why in his atomic theory he told atom is extremely smallest particle, further it is not divided. In fact, the atom is broken further, and that the smallest particle, that is the electron, proton, neutron, it is the microscopic particle not seen with naked eye. So how scientists discovered the electron, proton, neutron? When John Dalton stated the atom is not further divided, then how the scientists discovered the smaller particle than that atom, that is the electron, proton, neutrons. So for that purpose one scientist was doing the experiment by taking the electric discharge tube, in which two electrodes fitted, one is anode and other is cathode. Inside having the air particles, and all of you know air is bad conductor of electricity. So when the electric current allowed to pass through it, that doesn't pass one side to other side. But J.J. Thomson observed when inside pressure reduced, that means at very low pressure and at high voltage, the electric current allowed to pass through this electric discharge tube. Then he observed some ray emits from cathode and moves towards the anode. When the pressure more reduced, then fine bluish color ray emit and moves towards the anode. Okay, so very sharp bluish color ray emits from cathode and moves towards the anode. It is also known as canary ray. J.J. Thomson thought maybe it happened due to presence of air. He changed the gas inside the electric discharge tube at low pressure and high voltage. The same phenomenon was observed. Again he thought it may be due to the nature of the metallic rod. So again he changed the different metal and allow the electric current at low pressure and high voltage, then same phenomenon was observed. Then he started to think to find the nature or behavior of the ray. In fact, it is the particle emits from cathode moves toward the anode, but anything continuous flow that look like the ray, that's why it is known as the canary ray, but it is particles. Later in characteristic of that particle or ray observed. So what he did, very tiny wheel inserted in the path of the ray, that tiny lighter wheel start to rotate, means that particle, that ray has some kinetic energy due to which that the tiny lighter wheel start to rotate. And again he placed the opaque things in the path of the ray, inserted opaque thing in path of the ray, he observed shadow, that proves that ray propagate in a straight line. And again he placed this electric discharge tube between electromagnetic field, positive pole and negative poles. So what he observed, that ray moving in a straight line towards the anode, that tend to move towards the positive pole. So that prove that particles sustain the negative charge, and all of you know in opposite charge that attraction occurs. So here that ray moves towards the positive pole of the electric magnetic field. So that proves that particle having the negative charge. And he observed the size of that the particle. He observed the particle size smaller than the atoms. Okay. So atom, the size of the atom particle generally 10 to the power minus 10 centimeters. So that size of that particle smaller than the atom, then he concluded कि other particles which one is smaller than atom and sustaining negatively charged, and he told that smallest particle, that is electron, and it is independent of the any metallic substance or any type gas. So it is fundamental particles. So in this way J.J. Thomson discovered the electron, that is subatomic particle, J.J. Thomson. And all of you know the atom is neutral. And now here one subatomic particle discovered, the name given by the Thomson, that is electron, and that is negative charge, and it is the particle. So here the electron must be, and in this way the atom should be negatively charged, but it is not happen. Atom is neutral. So logically scientists started to think the other subatomic particle must be present which sustain positively charged, but that should be proved experimentally. So again several scientists involved to find the other subatomic particle, and one scientist whose name Goldstein that succeeded to find the other subatomic particles. So for that purpose the Goldstein only slightly changed the electric discharge tube. In place of continuous cathode, perforated cathode is taken, and same experiment repeated that one. And at low pressure and high voltage, when electric current allowed to pass through it, what he observed, one another ray passing opposite to the backside to the cathode, So again he try to find the characteristic of that the another ray. So he again put the very lighter tiny wheel in path of that ray that started rotate, means that also having kinetic energy of another particle, that one, and opaque thing placed in the path of the ray. Shadow is developing that also propagate in a straight line, and he calculated the size of that particle experimentally. He observed that is the smaller than that of atom, and whenever it is placed within the electromagnetic field, he observed that ray tends towards the negative poles. So that proves that particles sustain the positive charge. So in this way, the Goldstein named that the subatomic particle, that is the proton, that sustain positively charged. So it is also the independent of the different type of the metallic rod or different type of the gas. That means each and everything such particle exists, such particle present, and in this way two subatomic particle discovered. The electron was discovered by J.J. Thomson and proton was discovered by the Goldstein. So now here the third subatomic particle, how try to how scientists discovered and thought about that the third particle should be, because here electron is negatively charged and proton is positively charged. So in this way, if atom having same number of electron and same number of proton, in this way the atom is neutral. Then how scientists thought about the third subatomic particle, that is neutron. In fact, later on it was observed, if electron and proton present in the atom, so what's the atomic mass? That must be equal to total mass of electron and total mass of proton. But in various atom it is not correct. That means the third particle must be present in that the atom. So how it is experimentally proved? So for the third subatomic particle, that is neutron, one day another scientist, William Chadwick, was working related to radioactive element, and when one radioactive element bombarded by the alpha particle, then he observed the one particle emitting, that the uranium, suppose here the alpha particle, that is helium ion, bombarded to that uranium, that convert into the another element like the berkelium and the krypton along with the some particle, and that particle he observed having no any charge and 1 unit mass, and he observed that the particle emitting during the disintegration of the uranium, the some particle emitting, and there is no charge and smaller than the atom, and he told that the third subatomic particle is this particle, and that is the neutron. And when in any atom, here atomic mass known, and he observed when the mass of electron, proton and neutron added, then that is equal to the atomic mass of that element. So in this way it is experimentally proved the third subatomic particle is the neutron, and these three subatomic particles are known as fundamental particle. Okay. So except hydrogen, each and every atom of any element having the electron, proton and neutron. So now it is clear there are three fundamental particle, electron, proton, neutron. Now the scientists started to think, if electron, proton, neutron present in the atom, then how these three fundamental particles arrange in the atom, and arrangement of the electron, proton, neutron, that is called the structure of atom. The name of that the chapter, structure of the atom. So that should be experimentally proved how that the electron, proton, neutron arrange inside the atom. Again several scientists involved to give the arrangement of the electron, proton, neutron experimentally. The arrangement of electron, proton, neutron in atom, that is also known as atomic model. That means in order to give the atomic model, again several scientists involved, and first Thomson in 1889 he tried to give the atomic model, but that statement of that the Thomson was not so valid. So further the one scientist named the Rutherford, he experimentally proved how the electron, proton, neutron arrange in the atom. So now I am going to discuss the atomic model of Rutherford or a scattering experiment of Rutherford atomic model. So first of all, you note down the discoverer of the electron, name of the scientist discoverer of electron. The mass of electron was observed 9.11 10 to power minus 28 gram or minus 31 kg. The same way proton, the atomic number mass of the proton, it is 1.66 10 to power, mass of proton, that is 1.67, not 67 you can write here, 1.67, 3 you can write, and 10 to power minus 24 gram, that is the mass of proton higher than the electron, and mass of neutron, that is you can note down 1.675 into 10 to power minus 24 gram. Okay, and how it become possible the find the mass of electron, that is very mass of electron is 1 by 1870 times to the mass of hydrogen. Hydrogen atom is lighter, but and you can say the mass of electron is very least value, that is negligible, and you can write down the charge of electron also. Charge of electron, that is 1.66 into 10 to power minus 19 coulomb. Okay, charge of electron 1.66 10 to power minus 19 coulomb. One more scientist, the Millikan's, and the name of the experiment, that is the Millikan's Weyl drop method. He J.J. Thomson, first of all, you know, the Thomson was able to determine the value of ratio between a charge of electron and mass of electron. Okay, and that value coming 1.75882 into 10 to power 11 coulomb per kg. Thomson was able to determine the ratio between ratio E means charge of electron and mass of electron, that one, that he calculated that value, ratio between charge of electron and mass of electron. And you know here the charge of electron 1.6 10 to the power minus 19. So it is calculated by Millikan's Weyl drop methods. Millikan's Weyl drop method, this charge calculated on the basis of Millikan's Weyl drop method. So mass of electron easily calculated, mass of electron, that is the E by and ratio between E m E. So, mass of, charge of electron, that is 1.66 10 to the power minus 19, and now here mass of ratio between charge and mass of electron, that is 1.75 and 882 into 10 to the power 11. Okay, so that mass here coming here, that value here you can write here, that mass of electron, just here retain all of you, 9.11 into 10 to the power minus 28 gram. Okay, and 31 k here unit in kg, no, that one, this one per kg, so it is 28 coming here, 31 kg. So, in gram, that is 9.11 into 10 to the power minus 28 gram. Okay. So, it is clear about the electron, proton, neutron. So, you must know the charge and mass of electron, mass of proton, mass of neutron. So, now here the next topic, the atomic model, and I told you the we have to study the Rutherford atomic model, because the Thomson atomic model was not accepted by all, that is why it is not going to discuss now. I am going to discuss the Rutherford's atomic model. For that purpose, Rutherford took very thin gold foil, 0.001 mm, very thin gold foil, and he incidented the alpha ray. Alpha ray is nothing but the helium ion. He incidented the alpha ray on this very thin gold foil, alpha ray, that one. He observed one ray just exactly passes through that the center of the foil, that doesn't pass, reflect from that, and some ray away to center of that foil passes without any disturbance, but some ray nearer to the center passes with deflection, and which ray more nearer to the center passes with more deflection. So, some ray away to center passes without any disturbance, any deflection, but some ray nearer to the center that passes with deflection. He experimentally observed, and on the basis of this experimental observation, he concluded, just to imagine, it is just like an atom, and in atom here the alpha ray passes, and such type the experimental observation was observed, and on the basis of this observation, the Rutherford concluded most part of an atom is empty, because that ray passes without or with deflection, but one ray passes with center of the atom, that doesn't pass from that, means here the total mass of atom exists, that is why one ray doesn't pass through it, and rest part having no mass, so that passes with deflection or without deflection. And now here some ray nearer to the center of the atom passes with deflection, that proves alpha ray, that is helium ion, 2 unit positive charge, so that positive charge sustaining, and now here ray nearer to the center passes with deflection, means repulsion occurs. So, you can say at the center of atom the proton lies, and here the total mass lies, and total mass of atom is due to proton and neutron. Okay, because the mass of electron is negligible, so mass of atom is due to the proton and neutron. So, total mass lies at the center of atom, and you can say the neutron and proton present at the center of the atom, that is called nucleus. It is known as nucleus. Okay. So in this way, what the conclusion given by the Rutherford, it is you can write here the Rutherford's scattering experiment. So on the basis of this experimental observation, he concluded, and conclusion of the Rutherford is the atomic model, and on the basis of that conclusion, here it is clear, suppose it atom and center of the atom whereon neutron and proton lies together, that is called nucleus, and about electron he stated only one point, the electron moves around the nucleus in a circular path. So here the arrangement of electron, proton, neutron experimentally has been observed, and in this way some drawback of Rutherford atomic model was observed. That is why further Rutherford atomic drawback of Rutherford atomic model, drawbacks of Rutherford atomic model, Rutherford's atomic model. So again you listen the Rutherford atomic model. So what I told, what the conclusion given by him, that is the Rutherford atomic model. So first point you can write down, the most part of an atom is empty, and second point you can write, the neutron and proton lies together at the center of the atom, that is also known as nucleus. Center of atom is also known as nucleus, and electron revolves around around the nucleus in a circular path, and that circular path is also known as orbit. So this is the Rutherford atomic model, but some scientists observe there is some drawback. First drawback, any charged particle revolve in circular path that radiate the energy. On the basis of electromagnetic concept, any charged particle moves in a circular path that radiate the energy, means energy losses. So electron is charged particle, and according to him, electron moves around the nucleus in a circular path, that is called orbit. So that should radiate the energy, and its spiral motion should be, and ultimately the electron should drop at the nucleus, but it is not happened. That means there are some shortcoming in Rutherford atomic model, because it is experimentally proved when any charged particle moves in a circular path that radiate the energy, and here in Rutherford atomic model, electron is charged particle moving in a circular path, so that should radiate the energy, means that comes in a spiral motion, and ultimately electron should drop at the nucleus, but it is not happen, and Rutherford could not explain about it. Second point, only he stated the electron moves in a circular path. How many electron moving in that circular path, and at how far distance from the nucleus electron revolving, it is not clear, it is not explained about it. So it is the another drawback of the Rutherford atomic model. So further, one scientist Bohr gave and modified that the atomic model, and that is known as the Bohr's atomic model. So in next class I will discuss, even in Bohr's atomic model having some drawback, and further Bohr along with the another scientist Sommerfeld work together and modify his the atomic model. So that is taught in the higher class, but here in 11th class only you have to know the Rutherford atomic model and Bohr's atomic model. So next class I will discuss the Bohr's atomic model and that's drawbacks. Thank you for the listening.